helping you with Acorn and RISCOS computing.
Good afternoon. I can tell you actually one thing that's changed since I last did one of these talks 3 years ago is my eyesight has got worse. So with these glasses I can see the computer screen quite well, but you're a bit blurry. Never mind. I'm Matthew Phillips, Sine Nomine software, and I'm going to talk to you about RISCOSM and impact of email and a few of the other things that go along with those. Do come and see us on our stand for more about any of this stuff. First of all, RISCOSM. In the last couple of years, we've put a lot of effort into speed increases, particularly for small-scale maps. And I'll just have to say that I'm running this on a Raspberry Pi 4. We've only had one for a few weeks. The rendering speed is a lot faster than the ARMX6 that we were using before, so I'm quite impressed with Raspberry Pi 4. So anyway, we'll just dive in with the Caesar Court Hotel, Bradford, of course. And this is doing lookup using the Nominatim online database, and here we have the data and the map. If we zoom out a little bit, you'll see that the rendering speed is still pretty quick as we go further out. We've adapted the program a bit more, so you're now allowed to actually draw maps at up to 1 in 8 million scale, which means you can fit the whole of the British Isles onto a single window. It's obviously, when you get that far out, it's still not desperately quick, but it's now doable, whereas before it was, you'd be making a cup of tea and possibly even having your dinner before it would draw that. But now it's usable. So that's one of the big changes with RISCOSM. Lots of work gone into that. We've also added some nice little features responding to improvements in the operating system. So if you want to export a map, you used to have the option of draw or sprite, but we've now got PNG and JPEG using the compressed JPEG and compressed PNG modules, which compressed PNG has recently been released. So those options, you'll get a PNG produced direct, which you can see in whatever you like to use to look at PNGs. Next, we've got also some nice improvements in the select tool. So there is a tool here, for the spotlighting tool for finding things on the map. If you're wanting to look for things of a particular type, such as, now where are the bus stops? I was just going to look at bus stops quickly. Should have prepared this bit. Amenity, perhaps it's amenity bus stop. No, not amenity bus stop. Public transport. No, not public transport. Railway. Ah, dear. Tell you what, we'll go to Durham, because what I'm wanting to demonstrate is a new feature which allows you to do searches within a particular area. So if you zoom in on a bit of territory far enough so you can see houses, for example, if we do the spotlight tool, you can look for objects, building equals house, for example, and it will highlight all of the houses is found on the map. With the area tool, you can draw out an area. So I'll just turn that bit off, clear. You can draw out an area, and it's now possible to search within the selected area. So you see, we select that area like that, and the within selected area only option appears. So if I now look for building equals house, you'll see it just selects those which intersect the given area. And you can see 146 objects found. So if you're actually wanting to count the number of things within a particular geographic area, this makes it much easier to do that because you can draw out a specific area which isn't just the area you're seeing on the box, but can be outlined to suit your needs precisely. So that's another nice little feature. Anyway, other stuff that's been happening, we've been developing WROCC a little bit more, and you can now see things like weather maps. Apologies, because some of this was released a year or so ago, but we'll demo it anyway. Oh dear, this is very strange. WROCC is running, but it's not actually appearing properly. Wait a minute. That's better. I don't know what went wrong there. Okay, so WROCC has quite a lot of different sources of data now. Met Office weather, for example. You can then get forecasts up to a week ahead in varying levels of detail. You can export these as draw files if you wish. 48-hour type or 7-day. We have the collisions. So this is road collisions. If you're interested in what's dangerous, you can go and fetch all the data points for road collisions reported to the police over the last 20 years, I think it is. And they are coloured according to severity and what types of vehicles are involved in the collisions. You can see more detail from the pins and tracks window. Or indeed, go and in fact look at the details of the collision via a website, which has all of this stuff. So we've been looking around for different APIs to integrate to pull in geographic information onto your machine. Part of that is these different applications talk to each other. And about a year ago, a bit over a year ago, we released the documentation about how to do this. So Chris Hall, with his SatNav programmer, has been doing this for quite some time. SatNav sends messages to RISC-OSM to tell RISC-OSM where the computer is situated, and RISC-OSM will plot the point on the map. So we've now released the documentation, and it's relatively simple to send through messages showing a particular point on the map. I've got a little test application here, which is written in BASIC, and some point after the show, when we get a bit more time, we'll get this finished off and uploaded as an example. It's just a little WIMP application with a WIMP polling loop there. But the key things are the messages it responds to. So it declares that it has a data set available to RISC-OSM, and it can also send through random points on the map. Now, I was writing this on the train on the way here, and I got stuck because I made a stupid mistake. So it's not quite working, but I have got it to the point where I can show you that when we do find map web photos and geodata, there is now, oh yes, I haven't run it yet. Try again. Test app. Yep, so if you look at the menu there, there is now test data available. That was how it declared itself. And if we hover over the name there, you'll see in the bottom part of the window the detailed description, which is a load of rubbish because it doesn't do anything useful. Sadly, the bit that isn't working is fetching the point. I was trying over lunch to get that working, but for some reason there's something going wrong at the ROCC end. So work in progress as usual, but that's now available for people to see and try out. So we'll go back to Bradford next, and here we are, back at the Cedar Court Hotel. So another little application that we're releasing shortly. This will be a little freebie, which will be going up on the website soon. Is this little one down here called BusWatch, and this uses a Department for Transport API, which gets the live locations of buses in England. Some in Wales, some in Scotland, but it's only the English bus companies that are obliged to give this data to the Department for Transport at the moment. So we're ticking DFT Bus Open Data Service here and fetching, and it will go and look for all of the buses within the map area. I'll just zoom out a little bit further, because if we go a little bit further north, we will get to Bradford Interchange, the big bus station, and we can zoom in and see the buses moving about. Not quite sure how accurate they are. Sometimes they do seem to verge into buildings, but they're roughly in the right place, and they do update up to every 10 seconds, depending on how fast it's all responding. You sometimes get extra data from them via the pins and tracks window. So you can see, for example, which ones are run by different bus companies. In the Durham area, we've actually found that one of the bus companies gives you information about how full the bus is, how many seats are actually occupied. I'm not quite sure how they work that out, but there's a lot of data out there anyway. So that's a nice little one. And it will also work around Edinburgh. If we go up to Portobello in Edinburgh, we will find a large number of buses, because they have a bus depot in Portobello. And there's a separate fetcher provided through BusWatch for Lothian buses. And they also move about very nicely, about every 30 seconds, I think, is how frequently they can do theirs. So, and while we're at it, yeah, I'll go back to Bradford again. One of the nice things you can do is actually follow a bus. So I'm just going to make sure it's fetching them properly. Does seem to be. So if we look at this one, we can say map follows point. And as the bus moves, the map will move along. We can also, in fact, record the track. Now, we'll leave that going for a little bit, and I'm going to switch over to a totally different development, just to show you something else we've been working on. So you'll know that probably that we look after the impact database system, and one of the add-ons for impact is a little program called ImpEmail. This allows you to send batch emails to a whole range of people with personalized information in them. So it can start off, dear and then you fetch the name field from your database, and then you tell them when their membership subscription expires by fetching the expiry date from the database and all that kind of thing. Now, imp email has been a few years ago, I improved it so that you can use it with CSV files. So you can use it with any database or spreadsheet, not just Impact, if you can get your data out in a CSV file. Now, one of the things that one or two people have wanted to do is to put attachments onto the emails and even maybe have personalized attachments. So up till now, we've not been able to do this, but I've been working on an idea which is not ready yet, but we'd be very interested to know how many people are interested in this kind of development. So it involves an adapted version of Print PDF, which is Steve Fryett's software, but he's very helpfully made that open source, so it's possible to adapt it. So he and I have been in correspondence a bit about the best way to do this. So this is not ready for release yet, but it's something we're working on. So if we load a message into imp email, this is a typical message. Sorry, I don't know how well you can see this. Can anyone read that from where you are, or shall I change the screen mode a bit? Yeah. Question is, can we get a decent ratio? Do I want that? What was I on? We could increase the font size, to be honest. No, that didn't work very well. Okay. This is highly risky when we're recording this in the middle, but let's change the screen size. That's a bit better. Oh dear. Yep, there we go. Right. So you have a template, and the way imp email works, you have these little bits with curly brackets, and it says it's going to fetch that name field from the CSV file and the email address field and so on. If we drop the CSV file onto the window, then we get to see all the data. This is Bilbo Baggins. He's sending a message to the dwarves because he's got wind of the fact that they're planning on a party, and he wants to get it better organized. So this was part of the demo of imp email a few years ago, but what we've now got is the ability to have an Ovation Pro or Impression document attached, and there is an option to tick to say that you want to actually mail merge that document. So if I look at the document in Ovation Pro, you'll see we've got an invitation here. It's not very fancy because I don't really know how to use Ovation Pro. In fact, yeah, but you'll see there's a couple of merge commands. So the name and the date of the party are going to be inserted. Okay, so what's happening here is that when imp email, well, let's just demo, we'll test it. Right, so you'll see there various things happened, and I'll just talk you through what actually happened there. We've now got a test. The email has been merged. You'll see it's got the name of the dwarf, it's got the date of the party in the subject line and in the body of the message. And at the bottom, we've now got invitation/PDF ready to send off to the dwarf. So if I export this, and this is a bit that didn't work earlier. Yeah, cancel that. Come on. Where are we? Right, try again. Messenger will open it as a file, and you'll see we've got an invitation PDF attached. Drop it on there, and here it is. It's got the name of the dwarf and the date. all generated there. So what was happening? Well, when impmail does its merging, we'll just clear that again. The first thing it does is it works through all of these, the template, and inserts the fields into its own message. Then if the attachment has the mail merge box ticked, it will ask Ovation Pro to open the file off the disk. It then tells Ovation Pro to merge its document. So then Ovation Pro uses the impulse protocol to go and ask impmail for the fields. It inserts those values. Once that's been done, impmail sends an instruction to Ovation Pro to print the document. But before it does that, it checks that your printer driver is going to go to a PDF output. It checks that that it's a PostScript printer driver and it's been set to save to a file that will be picked up by Steve Fryett's print PDF. And it also sends a message, and this is the new bit, sends a message to print PDF to say, instead of popping up the save box to the user to ask them where to save this PDF, I want you to put it here, please. So then print PDF does its conversion, sends a message back to impmail to say, right, PDF's ready for you, and then impmail can pick that up from there and attach it to the message. So it's not ready to go yet. Steve and I have to do quite a bit more work on it to make sure no disasters happen when all this complicated choreography is going on. But maybe September, October, we'll have a bit more time to get on with this. Be very interested to know whether anyone's got any use for this. Obviously, print PDF with this extra message, it would be possible for other applications to talk to print PDF as well and say, I want you to put the PDF here. If there was another program that needed to do things in batches like that. So that's future plans, some of the future plans. And let's just see what this... has that bus moved? Has the map moved? Did I not select the right bus? Look, there we are. It has been moving. The map has moved. And you see this bus, while we were talking, has travelled from central Bradford to just past the stop where I got off earlier in the day to come to the show. So, very quickly, because we've only got another 5 minutes really, and I'd like there to be time for questions, just a little bit about future plans. We've not managed to get very much programming done in the last few months, but there are lots of ideas. So I'd be really interested in what you think would be good priorities to work on. So I mentioned showed you the weather map. Obviously with WROCC at the moment, you can pull up a weather map for the weather forecast for the area on the map. But you might want to pull up the weather forecast for an arbitrary place without drawing a map first. So we're thinking about adding facilities to WROCC so you can use the RISC-OSM place index and so on to be able to just ask WROCC for information without involving RISC-OSM. So that's one idea. Advanced search for RISC-OSM for WROCC might be useful. So at the moment, you can really, most of the time, only pull in kind of everything in the map area. So if I look at planning applications that are coming up, we'll search for planning applications, and it'll show you a number all over the place, with a bit of luck. Oh yes, 14 on the current map area and 7 of them outside the area. But the planning applications, obviously there's a lot of detail there. A more advanced search, which allows you to cut out tree preservation order planning applications and other things that you might not be so interested in. would be quite good, so that you can focus in, or you want to say, look at planning applications within a certain date range. At the moment, we can't do that with RISC-OSM and WROCC, but that an advanced search mode would be quite good. And yeah, there are other possibilities. There's a lot of tags and data on this map, which potentially other applications might want to make use of. So we've got, there are things like the KevSoft stuff for looking up train times and bus times. It would be quite good to be able to interact with other applications and say, you know what, if I've got a railway station on the map, maybe there's another application that might want to provide some sort of services relating to that. So we could look at adding some sort of protocol to do that. Anyway, 4 minutes left to go. Any questions from the audience? Suggestions, comments on what you'd like to see, priorities, that kind of thing? I think we've got a roving mic, so wave your hand, and I don't think they'll swivel the camera around, so you'll be quite safe. Perhaps even the mic is going to put people off.
Yes, you must have done too good a talk. I think that's why.
Oh,
no, explained everything perfectly.
It was too haphazard. It's, too bewildering.
I must say, I've never used it myself, but it just looks an amazing set of applications, the RISC-OSM and WROCC between them. So I'm very pleased to see it, and having retired recently, I may even get to use it and buy it, who knows. But I think it's one of the standout software things in my eyes in recent years.
Thank you very much. All right, perhaps explain what this is. But
yeah, well, it looks fantastic, but I was going to say, could you just tell me what the names of the programs are again? Because I'm really not that au fait with RISC-OS.
Yeah, okay. So the map software here is called RISC-OSM. It's called that because OSM stands for OpenStreetMap. And OpenStreetMap is like the Wikipedia of maps. Anyone can edit it and contribute to it. But the interesting thing about it is that it's vector-based. So you get, it's made up of nodes with latitude and longitude, and ways that join up those nodes. So a road or a railway or whatever is a way, or an area. An area is a way that closes in on itself. And so with RISC-OSM, you can download data. This is all offline maps. You download the data that's been converted specially, and you can get maps of most of the world in quite amazing detail in some cases. Sometimes it's not very good detail. So RISC-OSM is the map application. The other ones that go with it are WROCC, which is an add-on for sort of looking around the area. That can get you photographs from Flickr, Google Street View, and weather maps, pictures from the Cycle Streets Cycle photo database, and road collisions, and various other things like that, planning applications. And BusWatch, which is a little freebie which we'll be releasing shortly, is the one which shows you the live locations of buses on the map. And then Impact and ImpEmail. Impact is our database software, and ImpEmail can be used with Impact to send mass emails, or with a CSV file from any other system like Data Power or your spreadsheet software. Is that everything? Have I missed anything? I think that's probably it.
That's where I came